How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to my second rambling guide sort of on Stronghold Kingdoms parishes. In the last one I covered a bit how to get elected and some of the duties that are attached to a sheriff, as I should say a steward, as well as some of the benefits. In this one I'm going to be looking a bit more at the economic side of the parish and sort of going through the different buildings and what they do. So as you can see here, we are in the economic tab. It says click here to view your village map. In the case of a parish, once you have selected the parish capital tab, the village map just turns out to be this picture of the parish here. And I should delineate, in the first stage, guilds can be deleted and still retain the bonus that they provide to the parish. But in the second age and then on, the parishes will actually lose the guild bonus if you delete the guild. And you can tell what a guild is because they're essentially the upgradable buildings. So for example, here we have barracks, they're not upgradable. Supply depot is not upgradable. The catapult guild here, siege workers guild it's actually called, that one is upgradable, so therefore it's a guild. So all of these buildings that you can upgrade, if you delete them and it's in the second age onwards, you will lose the bonus that they provide. For example, here, let's go into the church. I'm currently making 30 faith points from that church. If I delete it, and given the fact that it's the 5th age, I will no longer be getting this church bonus in any of my villages in this parish. But if you're in the first age, you can delete these. And this means that the parish layout is a lot more flexible than it was in the first age. In the first age, there was sort of a standard, the right way to build a parish village, because you would upgrade everything, and then you would have barracks and supply depots yet, and you had to determine what was the best balance to strike between the two of them. I'm not sure if all of them fit. They might have all fit, actually. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did now that I think about it. But then there were also labor billets, and you'd have to decide whether you wanted faster castle construction speeds. I'm pretty sure the labor billet gives castle construction. You know, in the first stage, once the parishes are fully upgraded, you essentially have 3 buildings. You have the supply depots, the labor billets, and the barracks. And that changes quite a bit in the later ages because, you know, you have to keep your guilds around if you want to retain the bonuses they provide. And that is one of the reasons why I'm not interested in presenting a build to the world and saying this is how you should build it, because it really depends upon your individual circumstances. For example, you might not need a certain guild in your parish depending upon what you produce. Like if you're not producing meat in any of your villages, and you don't need a meat guild, you know. But anyway, we're going to go through all of the guilds here, and I'm going to talk about them. The first one in the castle buildings tab is the Architects Guild. This allows you to actually build the structures in the castle. So in other words, if you go into here, for example, you have different walls and stuff like that, it will unlock the walls. So if you want to build the Great Tower, you're going to have to fully upgrade the Architects Guild. Let me see here. I just want to donate resources. Currently, we have access to the Great Tower. Yes, this guild is maxed out at level 8. Okay, moving on, we have the labor billets. As I mentioned before, we took a look at these. They actually add, or they decrease the time of all castle buildings in this castle. Yeah, it's actually the castle itself. Now that I think about this, the Architects Guild reduces build time for buildings in the parish, and I'm just going to take a look at that. Like I said, this is just a ramble, so if you're looking for something a bit more structured, this isn't for you. The town hall. Let's take a look at the question mark here. It increases build speed in the capital village. Yeah, so this is considered the capital village that we're looking at right here, and the labor billets increase the castle building speed. So it's good to clarify that. I was a little bit worried that I forgotten, and it appears that I did. So now we're moving on to the Castellans. It's a strange word. The Castellans house. Upgrading it provides better basic defenses, and what this means, interestingly enough, I have not upgraded this. The Castellan's house improves the keep, actually. So as you can see here, we're in the castle. You can't see the keep, but you can tell by this little image here that it's not upgraded at all. So yeah, if you build the Castellan's house in your parish and upgrade it, it will upgrade your parish castle keep, and that will allow it to fire faster. Continuing on, we have the Sergeant at Arms right here, another important guild. Increases the protection of archers on walls and towers and provides access to other defense technologies in this castle. So it is quite similar. If we go here into the military tab of the research tree, it is quite similar to the defenses technology that the player can research. So in other words, if you need, let's just enter this parish again. If you go into here and you need to put down defense technologies such as guardhouses, killing pits, moats, all of this stuff is going to require, and pay no attention to this castle design, it's not that great. All of those are going to require you to first have placed and upgraded the Sergeant at Arms office. If you donate resources here, you can see this is completely upgraded, level 10, and we have access to guard houses with iron hoardings, boosts the armor on castle structures for our archers by 50% or 60%. I already forgot. It just shows you how absent-minded I am. 50%. Yeah, there we go. Okay, next, moving on to the stables. This provides knights. It is quite similar to the technology Sally Forth in your research tree. As you build it and upgrade it, it will provide the castle with knights that will sally forth from the keep and attack your attacker. So that's quite useful when it comes to destroying or dispatching early raids on your parish for parish gold or parish flags, especially in the earlier parts of the game when a lot of armies are not all that strong yet. Okay, moving on. From there, we have the Turrets Guild. I think it's the Turrets Guild. It's this little baby here. The Turret Maker. It gives you access to turrets in the castle. I think we've built them all. Right, here's the turret. If you build the Turrets Guild and upgrade it, you will be allowed to place these in your castle. The more levels that the Turret Maker has been upgraded to. Currently, we are at level 7 in this parish. We can have 7 turrets. One more level, we will get 8 turrets. I think the maximum is 10. We also have the Tunnelers Guild. And this functions much the same as... Oops, that's not the Tunnelers Guild. Here we go. Tunnelers Guild. It gives you access to tunnels. If you look here at the parish castle, you can see right here in the corner is a tunnel, and it will spawn peasants depending upon how highly upgraded it is. So currently we are at 50 peasants. Each time the enemy attacks, we'll get free 50 peasants that will spawn out of that tunnel, much like they do in your castle, and attack enemy siege equipment. If you have it paired with the peasant conscription hall, those peasants will be upgraded dependent upon the level of the peasant conscription hall. Otherwise, you'll just get standard peasants. And lastly, in the castle buildings tab, we have the Ballista Maker. Let's take a look at this. It gives you access to the ballista towers, which is pretty much right there. Those babies right there. Yeah. We can actually build 6 more of them. These are very important for removing catapults that are out of range of your archers on the walls. In case you're not aware of what ballistas do, I think most people would by this point. Okay, then we go moving into the army barracks tab. We have the army barracks tab. That's not right. The army buildings tab. First, we have the barracks, and each one of these holds 25 troops, and you can only place 40 of them in your parish, which means that you're going to have a max army size of 500 troops per parish. Now, this is increased for other capitals, such as the sheriff and the governor, and especially the king. So it's a very important guild. It's not a guild. It's a very important guild. I keep saying guild. So it's a very important building early on, and it would definitely be worth investing in. And then here we come to the Peasant Conscription Hall. This allows you to recruit peasants in your parish, and as you upgrade it to more levels, your peasants will have more health points, as you can see, or hit points, whichever you prefer. As you can see, I do not have it built in my parish, and therefore I cannot recruit peasants. Moving on to the Archers Guild, pretty much self-explanatory. It allows you to recruit archers, and upgrading it to higher levels will increase their hit points. Once again, Pikeman, I think it's a Pikeman Guild Yard. What is this called? The Pikeman's Drill Yard allows you to recruit pikemen, same as with the archers, and the conscription, the Peasant's Conscription Hall. Jesus. The Combat Arena, have not placed this. This one allows you to recruit swordsmen in your parish, and additional levels will increase the swordsmen's health points. Lastly, in terms of troop guilds, we have the Siege Engineers Guild, I believe it's called. Yes. It allows you to build catapults in this parish. Here we have a special building from, I think it's the 3rd age on, or is it the 4th age on? Can't be exactly sure anymore. The military school, it gives you access to bombards in your village. Now, this parish does not have a military school built, but what building the military school will do is when you go into the castle here, you'll be able to build bombards in this castle. And I should also mention, I hadn't mentioned this before, the ballista and the turret guilds are both required if you want to place either the ballistas or the turrets in your castles as well. So ballistas cannot be placed without the corresponding guild being placed and upgraded in the parish first. So it's possible to be spawned into a parish that cannot build ballistas because the parish guild or the guild for ballistas in that parish has not yet been built and upgraded. And I did not quite make that point clear, I don't think. And the same applies to bombards, which is what we were talking about now with the military school. Bombards are actually quite useful because they will sort of mass blanket a whole bunch of troops and reduce their overall strength, which is great. It makes it a lot easier for the archers and stuff to pick them off. It can be less effective when the troops are cornered and they're actually walking through a maze, but when they are like in mass, it can actually do a significant amount of damage, and I do recommend you build them. At first they seemed a little mediocre, but from what I've seen, they're actually quite effective, so I would definitely recommend building it. As you can see, these guides are more of a do as I say and not as I do. I will probably be doing a lot of less than optimal things and things I actually advocate against. As somebody pointed out here, I have 200 disease in my parish, and I definitely did not recommend doing that. So any of you prospective stewards out there, if I say do it a certain way, you should probably do it that way and ignore what I'm actually doing. So yeah, kind of makes me a hypocrite, and that's just either something you're going to have to overcome or it's going to haunt you for the rest of your life. So we're moving over here. I believe we covered everything. We did the supply depot. This increases army speed for the armies coming out of this capital. This means that if you place them all down, your armies are going to be quite fast, significantly faster than your actual village armies. We're moving over here to the civil buildings tab. We have the town hall. I mentioned this one a little bit earlier. It allows you to, with continued upgrades, decrease the build times of buildings in this screen. So as you build more buildings, obviously it will take several days to complete. If you have built and upgraded the town hall, those times will be reduced. However, the importance of this building has been a little bit diminished given the fact you can't delete it after fully upgrading it now. If you want to retain those diminished build times and you are in the second age or later. Then we have the church here. This increases the amount of faith points each of your villages in this parish will generate. It's a highly recommended building if you can afford the cost to upgrade it. And you should also be aware that the church is generally one of the prime targets of people who will jump into a parish and flip it and then delete it, try to cause as much damage as possible. What I commonly refer to as parish guild trolling. You can call it what you will, but it basically involves a player monkeying themselves into a parish and causing as much damage within a short period of time as possible, such as deleting the entire castle, spending all the gold on armies, and then smashing them into the former parish stewards' walls, their castles, and then deleting as many guilds as they are allowed to. And since you can only delete one guild per 10 hours, they generally go for the high value ones, such as the church and the Siege Engineers Guild, because both of these require banquet goods to upgrade and can actually be quite expensive to replace at the higher ends. Here we have the town guard. This is not all that useful anymore, in my opinion. It increases the popularity honor multiplier for all villages in this parish. So basically, it's like a statue, except you have to upgrade it. So like what all these statues do, it does pretty much the same thing as that. And for those who aren't aware what the statues do, I'm going to go into one of my villages here, and we can take a look at here we're getting the parish bonus in my honor information tab. 27, that's the honor multiplier I'm getting from the parish, and that's due to those statues built in it. But the garden does a similar thing, except you have to upgrade it. So I generally prefer statues, especially in the later ages, because they can be fit in a lot of small places, like that right there. And they only cost gold and a ton of flags, and you usually have a ton of that stuff laying around in later ages. Now we get into one of the most complicated tabs, the guild buildings tab. Now technically I consider buildings that can be upgraded as guilds, but according to the game, only the resource buildings are actually considered guilds. If you want to maintain that distinction, feel free to do so, but I'm just going to be referring to any building that can be upgraded as a guild. So the Woodcutters Guild increases wood production in your villages, stone increases the stone production in your villages, iron increases the iron production, pitch increases the pitch production, and so on. So here we have the food. All of these increase all the different food types. There's ale as well. You have the 4 banqueting goods here, another 4 banqueting goods here. I have no idea why they distinguish between the two of them. I mean, if you look at them, both of them say as a tooltip, open banquet submenu. So I have no idea. It's like they couldn't fit all of them on a normal page, so they had to break it up, which is rather strange. And then finally we have the Fletcher's Guild, the Pole Turners Guild, the Armorers Guild, the Blacksmiths Guild, and the Siege Engineers Guild. All of these, Siege Workers Guild, all of these increase their corresponding weapon equivalent production in your villages. And as you can see, I've only built the one for the catapults because that one's the most valuable in this day and age. If we look here at the general wall, this is where information will be displayed about what's going on in the parish. If you have, you know, if a certain player has been captured or they have attacked a wolf, it should appear there. A whole bunch of tabs here that are never used should just be removed. I've never ever, even when the game was at its peak of popularity, these tabs were only spammed. They never contained any helpful information at all. Just get rid of them. Make it a general message board. It would be a lot better. And then here we have the forums, the capital forums. Again, these are never used. Here we have the parish resources. This is a stockpile of the parish. If you have extra gold, you can always go into the click to trade. It's the merchant tab. Now this is actually the interesting part of the parish, because you might think this is just the regular parish market, but this is actually the parish stockpile buying from the parish market. And since we don't have any stone, I'm just going to go ahead and buy 33,000 stone. And that was debited from my parish account. And you can see my current gold right up here in the upper left corner, as well as the flags in that parish. And that is separate from your player gold. And then when you go into the stockpile, you can see my resources have been instantly delivered. And what I usually do is, if I know I'm going to get gold raided and there's nothing I can really do about it, you know, I've hired out all of my army and everything, I generally always like stockpile up on some resources, especially stone and pitch, because you can use it to place pots, boiling oil pots, then wood, and then iron. Iron is the least useful because all you ever use it for is building killing pits and smelters. And I think that covers everything about the economic side of a parish. I hope to do another one on parish castle design. That one will probably be a little bit more focused on actual designs, and I think I have a few good ones, so I look forward to sharing those with you. If you stick around, thank you very much for watching as always, and I hope to see you next time.